Have you ever found yourself asking, why can't I just walk away? You know the relationship hurts. You know you're not happy. You've tried to leave, maybe more than once, but each time, something inside pulls you back. It's not love anymore, not in the way it should be. It's not even hope, not really. It's something deeper, more tangled. And if you found yourself in this place, where pain feels safer than the unknown, then what you're experiencing is not weakness. It's not naivety. It's a psychological and emotional trap. You are not trapped by this person. You are trapped by what this relationship has awakened in you, by what it reinforces, what it mirrors from your past, and by what it has made you believe about love and about yourself. This is why simply leaving doesn't always work, because the pain isn't just about them. The true suffering lies in the patterns they've triggered, the fears they've confirmed, the hopes they've toyed with, the wounds they've kept open. And this is where it begins, by seeing clearly. Toxic relationships are rarely toxic from the start. Often they begin with intensity, an overwhelming sense of connection, passion, attention. You feel seen, chosen. You think, this is what love is supposed to feel like. But then, little by little, cracks begin to show. Small betrayals, emotional distance, confusing contradictions between what they say and what they do. But instead of backing away, you stay. Because by now you've already bonded. You're already emotionally invested. And you begin to rationalize, to hope, to fight for a version of them that only appears in fragments. This kind of attachment doesn't happen by chance. It is rooted in your past, in how you learned to love, in how love was modeled to you in your earliest, most formative years. If you grew up in a stable environment where affection was given freely, consistently, without conditions, you likely developed what psychologists call secure attachment. You believe that love is safe, that boundaries are normal, and that being treated well is the baseline, not the exception. But if you were raised in a home where affection was unpredictable, where love was sometimes warm, sometimes cold, where you had to earn validation or tiptoe around mood swings, you likely developed insecure attachment. Your brain learned that love is uncertain, that you must perform or sacrifice to receive it. That inconsistency is normal, even desirable. So when you encounter someone who mirrors this emotional instability, who offers you affection in waves, sometimes flooding you, sometimes starving you, your brain doesn't see a red flag. It sees home. It sees familiarity. And without realizing it, you mistake anxiety for chemistry, confusion for passion. You are not falling in love. You are falling into a pattern, one that feels like love because it feels familiar. This is the first trap, mistaking trauma bonding for intimacy. But that's not all. Once the relationship is underway, another, more insidious force takes hold: intermittent reinforcement. Imagine this. If someone were cruel to you every day, it would be easy to leave. The pattern would be obvious. You'd have no reason to stay. But when someone alternates kindness with cruelty, affection with withdrawal, praise with punishment, your brain becomes addicted. This is exactly what psychologist B.F. Skinner discovered in experiments with animals. When rewards are given randomly, unpredictably, the subject works harder, tries more, becomes obsessed. And the same thing happens in toxic relationships. The days when they're loving become addictive highs. You start chasing those moments, replaying them in your head, trying to understand what you did right. The bad days, though painful, become something you believe you must endure to reach those good ones again. You become trapped in a cycle of emotional gambling, pulling the lever, hoping this time you'll win. And every time they give you just enough to keep you there, just enough warmth, just enough guilt, just enough apology, you get pulled back in. This is the second trap, the psychological addiction, created by emotional inconsistency. But there's more. Toxic partners often use tools like gaslighting and projection to keep you disoriented. They make you question your memory, your feelings, your sanity. You start to doubt your version of events. You begin to wonder if maybe you are the problem. Maybe you overreacted. Maybe you really are too sensitive. This confusion doesn't happen overnight. It happens slowly, subtly, and that's what makes it so dangerous. It's not just manipulation, it's a systematic breakdown of your inner compass. The more you doubt yourself, the more you rely on them for validation, for truth, for reality. This is the third trap, the erosion of your self-trust. And still, through all this, you stay. You hope. You try again. Why? Because leaving feels like giving up. Not just on them, but on the story. The idea that this could be fixed, that this person could become who you thought they were at the beginning. You're not just attached to them. You're attached to the dream, the potential, the illusion. And letting go of that feels like a loss so great, your mind will do anything to avoid it. But here's the truth. This is not love. This is emotional survival. This is the legacy of an attachment style formed long before this relationship even began. And that's why you feel trapped. Because to leave isn't just to say goodbye to a person. It's to confront everything this relationship brought to the surface. All the fears, all the insecurities, all the wounds you tried so hard to bury. But here's the most important thing. You are not broken. You are not weak. You are not foolish for having stayed. You were wired to seek connection, to find safety in the familiar. And now that you see the pattern, you have the power to change it. Not instantly, not without pain, but with clarity, with intention, with truth. In session, we'll go deeper into how emotional addiction works, how your brain has been conditioned to accept less, and how to begin the process of detoxing from the psychological hold this relationship has on you. You don't need to wait for them to change. You don't need permission to walk away. You only need to choose yourself, finally and fully. You now understand that what holds you in a toxic relationship is not just love. It's a deep, psychological and emotional attachment rooted in your past. But even with that awareness, you still feel the pull, the longing, the ache. Even after everything you've been through, there's still a part of you that hopes, that doubts, that wonders. What if I made a mistake? This is not love. This is not weakness. This is emotional addiction. Yes, addiction. Let's call it what it really is, because until you do, you'll keep mistaking withdrawal for desire, pain for passion, absence for longing. And that's how you stay trapped. Addiction is not always about substances. It's about how your brain responds to pleasure and pain. When your emotional reward system becomes entangled with a toxic person, your brain literally learns to crave them the same way it would crave a drug. And that craving overrides logic, self-respect, and even your own safety. So how does this emotional addiction form? It starts with intermittent reinforcement, just like Skinner's experiments with animals, where random rewards created compulsive behavior. Your toxic partner gave you just enough love, just enough sweetness, just enough hope to keep you coming back. You never knew when the next moment of affection would come, But when it did, it felt like everything. One kind word after a week of silence. One compliment after days of criticism. One tender gesture after a screaming match. And because those moments were so rare, your brain overvalued them. You clung to them. You made them mean something more than they actually did. They became your proof that the relationship wasn't all bad. That maybe, just maybe, things could change. This is the cycle. Affection, pain, confusion, apology, hope, repeat. And with every repetition, your threshold for mistreatment gets lower. You begin to accept behavior you never would have tolerated before. You justify it, normalize it. You tell yourself that every couple has problems, that no one is perfect, that love is supposed to be hard. But this isn't love, this is conditioning. You've been trained to accept crumbs, and that training runs deep. It's not just emotional, it's physiological. Your brain releases dopamine during the high moments, and cortisol during the low ones. Over time, your body becomes addicted to the roller coaster. The spikes and crashes. The chaos becomes your normal. And peace, stability, kindness, those start to feel boring, unsafe even, foreign. This is why when you try to leave, you feel worse before you feel better. This is why you miss them, even when you know they hurt you. This is why you fantasize about the good times, even though they were the exception, not the rule. Because you are going through withdrawal. Just like with any addiction, the first step to breaking free is complete abstinence. That's why no contact is not just advice, it's survival. No calls, no texts, no stalking their social media, no asking mutual friends about them, no rereading old messages, no watching old videos. No digging through photos hoping to find a sign that it meant something. Because every little contact, even a memory, is a hit. It reactivates the emotional loop. It tricks your brain into thinking there's still hope. It pulls you back into the fog. And the fog is dangerous. In the fog, you forget the pain. You romanticize the past. You doubt your decisions. You start to think, maybe it wasn't that bad. So what do you do when withdrawal kicks in? You prepare for it. You treat it like a detox, because that's exactly what it is. You will feel emptiness. You will feel pain. Your body will crave the person like a drug. You will question everything. You will want to reach out, to hear their voice, to get some form of validation. Don't. This pain is temporary. It's not your truth. It's the residue of the addiction leaving your system. And during this stage, your biggest enemy is your own mind. Because it will lie to you. It will cherry-pick the good moments. It will make you doubt the bad ones. It will rewrite the story so you become the villain and they become misunderstood. This is why you need reminders, proof, anchors. Write a list of every time they hurt you, every betrayal, every lie, every moment they made you feel small. Keep it close. Reread it every time the urge to go back surfaces. These are your facts, your reality, the version of the story you lived, not the one your brain is trying to sanitize. And while you're detoxing from them, you need to start rebuilding you. Because emotional addiction doesn't just trap you in a relationship. It robs you of yourself. It makes you forget who you were before the chaos. It conditions you to see yourself through their eyes, to believe that you're too much or not enough, that you're unlovable, that you're broken. You're not. What's broken is the illusion. What's broken is the mask you wore to be accepted by someone who never truly saw you. What's broken is the belief that this was love. So now begins the next part of the process. Reclaiming yourself. Start small. Reconnect with the parts of you that got buried. What did you used to love doing before this relationship consumed you? What dreams did you put on hold? What friendships did you let fade? What parts of you did you hide? Make space for those things again. Journal, move your body. Say yes to things that nourish you. Say no to things that drain you. Get therapy if you can. Join support groups. Talk to people who remind you who you are when you're not trying to survive. Emotional manipulation. You will have setbacks. That's okay. Healing is not linear. Some days you'll feel strong. Other days, the grief will knock you over like a wave. That's not failure. That's detox. Let yourself grieve, not just the person, but the version of yourself you lost trying to love them. Grieve the time, the hope, the effort. But don't stop, because with every day that passes, the fog clears. Your mind returns, your energy returns, your self returns. And one day, without realizing it, you'll wake up and feel something foreign, something gentle, something still. Peace. Up next, we'll explore how to turn that peace into strength, how to rebuild your identity, reclaim your self-worth, and make sure you never fall into this cycle again. Because leaving a toxic relationship is not the end, it's the beginning. By now, you've faced the truth. You've begun the process of emotional detox. You've started the painful but necessary journey of letting go, not just of a person, but of a pattern that has held you hostage for far too long. And maybe you're still in pain. Maybe you're still missing them. That's okay. Healing doesn't mean forgetting. It means remembering without breaking. It means moving forward, even when your past tries to pull you back. But now comes the most powerful part of this process: rebuilding yourself. Because leaving a toxic relationship is not the end of your story. It's the beginning of the most important chapter, the one where you finally come home to yourself. Toxic relationships do something cruel. They don't just hurt you, they dismantle you. They chip away at your self-esteem, your confidence, your voice. Over time, you start to forget who you were before it all began. You begin to see yourself through the distorted lens of someone who never valued you. And that's why now, more than ever, you must choose yourself. You must begin to reconstruct your identity, not as a reaction to the past, but as a conscious creation of the life you truly deserve. Step 1. Reconnect with your core self. Start by asking, who was I before this relationship? What did you love? What made you feel alive? What did you believe in before you were told you were too much or not enough? Rebuilding starts with reconnection. Go back to the things you set aside. Revisit old passions, forgotten hobbies, friendships you let go of to make space for someone who never really made space for you. Each of these reconnections is an act of reclaiming. They remind you that your worth is not defined by how someone else treated you. Create a new version of your life that is rooted in authenticity, one that doesn't bend to please, perform, or survive, but to thrive. Step 2. Redefine love. If your past has taught you that love is pain, that love must be earned, or that love comes in unpredictable waves, you must unlearn it. You were not wrong for wanting love. You were not foolish for trusting. But you must realize now that what you experienced was not love. It was control, addiction, trauma repetition. Real love does not hurt like that. Real love is not a game of rewards and punishments. It is not chaos. It is not a test. Real love is consistent. It's safe. It grows in peace, not in fear. It communicates. It respects. It holds space. But before you can find real love from someone else, you must offer it to yourself. How? By refusing to abandon yourself ever again. by not settling for the emotional equivalent of scraps, by treating your heart as something precious, not negotiable, by showing yourself every day that you are worth more than survival. Step 3. Rebuild trust in yourself. One of the greatest casualties of a toxic relationship is self-trust. You've spent so long doubting your feelings, questioning your perceptions, second-guessing your instincts. You were told you were too sensitive, too dramatic, too insecure. No, you weren't. You were right to feel what you felt. And now you need to relearn how to trust your inner voice. Start small. When you feel discomfort, pause. Don't dismiss it. Don't override it. Listen to it. When you feel joy, honor it. Don't suppress it. Don't sabotage it. Your intuition is not broken. It was silenced. But it's still there, waiting for you to return. Each time you validate your own experience, each time you say, "I believe me," you heal. Step 4. Create new standards. Once you break a toxic cycle, you'll never look at relationships the same way again. And that's a good thing. Use this time to define your boundaries, not just what you don't want, but what you do. How do you want to be spoken to? How do you want to be supported? What does safety and love look like to you? Write it down, because you are not rebuilding yourself to fit into someone else's world. You are rebuilding a world that only the right people will be allowed into. And here's a truth you must hold on to. The right people will not be repelled by your boundaries. They will be drawn to them, because those who are meant to love you will love the version of you that doesn't shrink to stay connected. Step 5. Make meaning of the pain. This part may feel impossible, but it's one of the most powerful. Make meaning of what you went through. Don't let it define you. Let it refine you. You've seen the darkness of manipulation. You've lived the confusion of gaslighting. You've felt the hollowness of loving someone who only gave you glimpses of affection to keep you close. Let that fuel your clarity. Let it shape your purpose. Let it deepen your compassion for yourself and for others walking the same path. Maybe one day you'll help someone else. Maybe you'll write about it. Maybe you'll speak up when you see someone being mistreated. Maybe you'll become the kind of partner, friend, or parent who breaks the cycle for good. This is your transformation. Step 6. Forgive yourself. Not them, not yet. Maybe not ever. But you. Forgive yourself for staying, for not knowing better, for hoping, even when it hurt, for the love you gave to someone who didn't honor it. You did the best you could with what you knew, and now you know more. Now you are more. Forgiveness is not forgetting. It's choosing to stop holding yourself hostage to the past. You are not the person you were when you entered that relationship. You are wiser, stronger, softer in the places that matter, fiercer in the places that protect you. And one day, you will look back on this pain and say, not "Why did I go through that?" but "Thank God I didn't stay." Because you will have built a life that no longer tolerates emotional starvation. A life that is full. A life that is true. And most importantly, a life that is yours. You are not broken. You are awakening. This was not the end. It was the invitation. Now go live the life that could only begin when you finally chose yourself.